Alhamdulillah, wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So tonight's lesson, Idhnillahi ta'ala, we're going to take another Quranic citation from the third chapter, Surah Al-Imran, Idhnillahi ta'ala. Verse number 26. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, after we seek His refuge, أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ونفخه ونفخه قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير تولج الليل في النهار وتولج النهار في الليل وتخرج الحي من الميت وتخرج الميت من الحي وترزق من تشاء بغير حساب. Allah, the Sublime and the Exalted, He tells us what is translated in chapter 3, verse 26. Say, Allah is speaking to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Wallahu ahad. قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل يا أيها الذين. Say, proclaim, I'm telling you this, and I want you to teach it to your followers and your disciples, to the people. قل. This is something which is exclusive, intimate. This is something that I want you to give to all men. قل. Say, O Muhammad, and tell your followers to say it. And when they get da'wah, when they teach people and they spread Islam, they're to say it as well. What is the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam commanded to say? And of course, as a side benefit, this verse, among many others, proves the validity of the aqidah of Islam, the aqidah of hadith, salaf salih, is that the Quran is the speech of Allah, and that it isn't created. Whereas the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is commanded to say, Qul, he's saying something. He's not making it up or inventing it. It isn't from a man or a mortal. Right? So the different people within, it's difficult to say within Islam, Ahlul Qibla, or Al-Muntasibina ila al-Qibla, those who ascribe themselves to Qibla, who say that they're Muslims. And of course, those who are outside of the people who ascribe themselves to the Qibla, the non-Muslims, who say that Muhammad made up the Quran. He just made it up. He invented it. He took from the Jews of Medina. He took from the pagans of Arabia. And he took from the Christians of Syria. And the rest, which he dreamed about, or he was epileptic, or he just made it and put it together. Right? He just threw it all together, right? So Qul, say it. No one is going to write a book and then say in that book over and over again in different passages. Clearly he isn't the author. Al-Muhim, Qul, Allahumma, O Allah, and we know that the statement Allah is Allah, Alif, Lam, Lam, Ha. This little letter, or this letter in the end, is called what? Meme. What type of meme is it? Why does it say Qulillah? Oh, say Allah. Why say Allahumma? How many sections do you make Allahumma? Allahumma. What are you saying in your supplication? What does it mean? Have you ever asked yourself that? What does Allahumma mean? And why? Why don't we say Ya Allah? You ever asked yourself this question? Why do we say Allahumma inni as'aluka? Allahumma inni a'udhu bika? You never posed that question to yourself? You just said it, took it, and ran with it? Is Allahumma one of Allah's names? Is it? So what is it? What is it then? It's more personal. What does Allahumma mean? And what's the breakdown of the word itself? In other words, it's a meme on the end of what? Allah's name, Lafdul Jalala. Correct or incorrect? On the end of what? Lafdul Jalala. Alif, Lam, Ha. Allah, Allahu. And then the meme is added and it becomes Allahumma with the shadda and the fatha. What does it mean with the meme, fatha and the shadda? What does Allahumma mean? First question. And second question, where does it come from and why? And why haven't you, Faisal, asked yourself this when you've been Muslim all these years? You read the Qur'an, you make these supplications. Did you not say, what am I saying? Rahman, clear. Rahim, Bismillah Rahman Ar-Rahim, clear. But what is Allahumma? Possessive. طيب. Ma'ad. What do scholars ever say about this? Nobody. Khair, inshallah. Let it be a homework assignment for everybody. What does, you said it already, Brian, what does it mean? What's the breakdown of it? Where does the mean come from? Mean in Arabic means intimate?
No.
Is it just the way the Arabs used to call Allah?
The way that the Arabs used to call Allah. Anybody else? Alright, that's everybody's homework assignment for next week. What does Allahumma mean? Where does it come from? Why is the mean added to the end of Allah's name? And why does it turn into Allahumma? And we exclusively use it when we what? Supplicate. You don't say Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Allahumma Akbar, right? You don't wear Wallahumma. You say Wallahi, Bismillah, right? But when you supplicate, you say Allahumma. Why is that? That's everybody's assignment for next week. Alright, what about other religions, other scriptures? What's one of the words of God? Or one of the names of God, or how God is addressed in other scriptures? They say what?
Lord.
Elohim.
Elohim.
Correct and correct. Say what?
I got
Elohim. Elohim sounds very, very uncannily similar to what? Elohim. Allahumma. Accident? Coincidence?
Definitely not.
We're on the same page or not?
Yes.
So that's everybody's homework assignment, huh? This may be the thing that tips the scale for your non-Muslim family member. Elohim. Right there, you're reading it. Faisal. You're going to be visit your homework next week. Inshallah. Sufyan next. Tahir. Alright. So we don't know the answer to that, nor am I going to give it right now. Malik al-Mulk. Say, oh Allah, it says in the translation, Allahumma means Allah. Lord of power and rule, Malik and Mulk. You're the Malik of the Mulk. You're the king of the kingdom. You're the owner of the things that men and women fight and covet to own and possess and rule and run. Who's in charge? Malik al-Mulk. Oh Allah, indeed I believe, as a Muslim, I know, I have faith, and I invoke you via your name and your attributes. يعني التوسل الشرعي. التوسل بأسماء الله تعالى وصفاته. As you beseech Allah through faith in His names and attributes. Oh Allah, you are the most strong, give me strength. Oh Allah, indeed you are Ar-Razzaq. You provide for infinite number of creatures, so please give me provision. Nah? Oh Allah, you are Al-Wadud. So true. Tawassul. You beseech Allah with names and attributes. Okay, we explained this many times in the class. قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَن تَشَاءُ. Thou givest power to whom thou pleasest. You, O Allah, give dominion, kingship, monarchy, rule to whom you please. How is this person the king? I should be the ruler. You give it to what? To whom you please. So, whoever king, based on this one verse, whoever rules and runs things, they have done that by the permission of Allah and the approval of Allah. إذنه الشرعي ولا إذنه الكوني. هل كوني ولا شرعي ولا الاثنين معا؟
في بعض الحالات ممكن الاثنين معا، لكن الأصل
إمامة أبي بكر
شرعي.
لا
صحيح وكمل.
صح؟
نعم.
طيب أئمة الكفر من قريش وغيرهم بس الله ما يرضى ولا يحب ولا يدين له في الكون. So Allah's will, Allah's approval, Allah's permission is of how many types? Two. That which Allah allows in the universe, but He's displeased with. And that which Allah allows in the universe, and He's also pleased with. Everyone understand this or not? That which Allah wants in the universe, and He allows it to happen. That which Allah wants in His deen, and He does or doesn't allow in the universe. So the Islam of Abu Talib, did Allah want it to happen? You say no. هل أراد الله إسلام أبي طالب عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم؟
أحب هنا
الإرادة الشرعية. لا شك في ذلك أن الله أراد ولا يرضى لعباده الكفر. يحب لعباده أن يؤمنوا به وأن يسلموا. لكن هل أراده كونا؟ ما أراد. لأنه لو أراد لكان. ليش؟ لو وقع. So Allah wanted him to be a Muslim according to what? The deen. The deen, His rules, the laws. Allah didn't want it to happen in the world. And if Allah wanted that thing to happen in the world, it would have no question about it. Did Allah want Abu Bakr to believe? Kawn and Mushara? Both. Allah wanted Abu Bakr to be a believer in the deen. He loves the Islam of Abu Bakr. And He also wanted it to happen in the world. So it did what? It took place. Understand? Just because something happens and Allah allows it to happen doesn't mean that He what? Is pleased and loves it. Unless that thing is in a deen. Clearness or not. Allah wanted you to get married. He loves for you to get married. And He also wants you to get married in the world. And that's why you are married. Clear or not? Everybody understand or not? Allah wanted you to make zina?
Depends on the
Shara, in the deen, no. But you did make zina. In the universe, that means what? He wanted that to happen. He willed it to happen. But He wasn't pleased with it. Everybody understand this? So therefore, the king of this world, the kings of this world, has Allah approved their kingship? Illa, yes. Does He love all of the kings? Does He approve of all of their kingdoms? No. But in the world, in the universe, He's what? He allowed it to happen. Tu'til mulka man sha. You give the mulk, the dominion to whom you want. Good or bad, pious or wicked. Clear or not? Right. وَتَنْزِلُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ. And you take, and thou strippest off power. You take the dominion from whom you will. You got everybody here on the same page? You take the kingdom from what? From whoever you choose. Whether we like it, dislike it, agree, understand it or not. Tayyib? Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. And you give might and power. You give izzah. You make someone aziz, whom you please. وَتُذِلُّ. And you humiliate, you lower, you degrade, whomsoever you please. So if you have strength of deen, of mind, physically strong, it's a blessing from Allah. Or a test from Allah. Are you thankful? Are you grateful? What? Allah makes people's feet firm. Allah gives power and takes power if He wills. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ. In thy hand is all good. بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ كُلُّهُ. All good is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that's good from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have nothing to do with it. إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. Verily, over all things, thou hast power. So this is a beautiful supplication. A Muslim, he makes. And what's the gist of this supplication? If you could sum it up in one word, with regards to your relationship with Allah, with regard to proper behavior of a Muslim. Submission. He's the master, you're the slave. What else? If you could, one word though. Acknowledgement. So I'm acknowledging my weakness. I'm acknowledging his power. I'm acknowledging my limitations. Acknowledging his limitations. What else? Gratitude. I'm the king, or I'm the subject. Because it was only made by one word. Only one word. Gratitude. Right? I'm thankful. Anything else? How about humility? Humility. I'm a humble servant. Who owns everything? Who's running the show? Who's in control? Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ups and from Allah, the mighty and most high. Alright, tight. So the highlighting point I said from the supplication is what? Qul Allahumma. Say. So Muslim makes this dua, driving in the car, walking down the street, when you make in your the times in which you supplicate in your salah, Allahumma malikal mulki tu'til mulka tasha. You are in a position of power. What have I done to deserve this? Allahumma tu'til mulka man tasha'u. You give the dominion to whom you will. Why aren't the Muslims in charge? Why are the Muslims under these people? We make dua. Why is anything changing? You say what? Allahumma tu'til mulka man tasha'. Now, before we move forward, so this is the supplication, right? Everybody with me?
Yes.
This is the tafsir, the general meaning of it. It's very interesting that one of I won't say most, but it's definitely very reoccurring in the Quran is the discussion and the discourse regarding what?
The names and attributes of Allah?
Names and attributes of Allah, no doubt about that, but it's something else. What's very reoccurring in the Quran all the time?
The story of Adam and
Think about it. Think something that you read about often in the Quran. Kings. Sorry? Kings. Such as, quickly, off the top of your heads.
Suleiman.
Nimrod. Have you not seen the one who argued Ibrahim? I'm the most powerful. I bring the sun. I give light. You are weak. Nimrod. Right? What else? Fir'aun. These Wadi and Harul. Right? These rivers do what? What are you talking about? What I can you be? This man is stuttering and stammering. You're going to pick me? You're going to pick him over me? You see my dominions, my power, and he can really talk. I am the king. Right? So Nimrod, Pharaoh, what else? Yusuf, how did Yusuf become the king?
He translated the dream of
I saw, رأيتهم لي ساجدين. رأيتهم ولم يكن رأيتها حتى رأيتهن وإنما قال that's يعني الكلام في البلاغة يعني أقصد. المهم, Yusuf became a king. He was the supreme leader, subhanAllah, after he was a slave. After there was an attempt on his life. After he went through scandal. After he was in a dungeon, in a prison. After all of that trial and tribulation, the end was what? Alright, what else? So we have a bad king, Nimrod, Pharaoh, we have a good king. What else do we have in the Quran about kings? Kingdom. Talut, Dhul-Qarnayn, what else?
The boy and the king.
The boy and the king in the Quran, what surah?
Kaf.
Kaf, the boy and the king? Surah Al-Buruj. Tayyib, what else? Dawood. What about his son, who was? Suleiman. The whole Western civilization. Solomon's temple. Very long discussion with regards to that. Long discussion. America. The United States. The symbols, the emblems, the insignia. This from the founding fathers. Where do they say it comes from? Long discussion. What else? Nobody else? No other kings in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf. What was the king doing with the ships? He was taking them. The poor people were working, right? Which proves that a person could be poor and still work. That's another fiqh discussion. Of course, the zakat. What else about kings in the Quran? Al-Muluk. What about a female king? Queen. Who was? Bilqis. Malikat Saba. She was at odds with who? Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam. That's a very long discussion with regards to feminism, with regards to chauvinism and the signs you need. Does Islam support feminism? Does Islam suppress women? Can a woman charge? Can a woman have, etc.? That's a very long discussion from that surah. From what? From that surah. Any other kings or queens in the Quran? Alright. One could mention much more from the Quran, just about kings and kingdoms. Okay, so my next question is, it's a historical phenomenon on so many different races and religions, parts of the world. Anyone can pick my brain, which is called what? When we have kings and kingship and religion and faith. It's a link between the two. Monarchy, successorship, getting closer. Listen again. A king, a leader, whatever the name, chieftain, khan, sultan, him. Papacy, ruling, and faith. God or gods. Monotheistic religion or power religion, and extremely monotheistic religion. Him. I'm in charge. I'm ruling. Getting closer. What is this called? Abu Mir. Leading, faith, God. Then it's a very long قصة طويلة يا شيخ في صاحبك هذا البوب. يطول الكلام جدا. تقصد البوب الأبيض ولا الأسود؟ في اثنين. إلا الذي تراه شوفه هو الأبيض. والمخروم الذي وراء هو الأسود. The black pope. You guys know about the black pope, right? Real rap. You don't know about the black pope? That's why he's black. You don't know. He's not black skin color or ethnicity. No, he's the string puller behind the shadows of the string puller. I don't know. Tayyip, what's it called? Read it, you'll be shocked. All the different wars, revolutions, the Middle East, Muslim countries, Israel, and this goes on and on and on. All right, Tayyip, what is this aqidah called? This connection between ruling and between faith and submission. What is it called? Anybody know? All right, let's go to our favorite website briefly. Mine will be our reader. It is called what? Divine rights or divine right of kings, or the right to rule. I have a divine right to rule you. God Almighty made me the king. You submit, obey, and follow my rule and my kingship because... Now, is this Islamically compliant or not? هذا مقبول إسلام ولا مردود؟ مرفوض يعني فكرية هذا divine right. He says partially إلى حد ما, partially, not absolutely, and very intelligent sir. مقبول إلى إيش؟ حد ما. Okay, ليس على الإطلاق ولا هو مرفوض على الإطلاق وفي بعض التفصيل. Okay, anybody else? And like we just read, is the divine right of kings acceptable in Islam or not? He says it's rejected, Shariyan. No rehibu. What do you think, based off of what we just read? No. Tahib, oh Allah, you give what? The mulk to whom? Man tashaha. give it to whom you will. So the mulk was given by who?
Allah.
So how can you say that the divine right of kings is absolutely rejected? When we just read from Qur'an, you give the kingdom to whom you will. We didn't understand. Let me finish. This is talking about mumarasa. We're just practicing and sparring. We're not saying anything is definite or indefinite. But in this is a class, not a lecture, it's not a talk, it's not romantic, sensation. This is where you're actually learning. Alright? We're exchanging ideas. But based off of what we read, that would mean what?
Yeah, but you said,
That there is someone.
you said it's two buckets.
Illa.
And the one that
Allah chose them.
is not.
It's the divine right. Not shar'an, not in the deen, but in the kawn, the universe.
In the universe.
But I was made king, for argument's sake, by who?
By the universe.
By God, the controller of the universe. So one could argue is that there's somewhat,
The truth, divine.
somewhat,
Divine.
some truth to the divine right to rule. Allah, all right, mahatfadda. Let's see who these guys are. MashaAllah, look at that. Coke.
That's wild.
Yeah, for sure. How many people had to die for that? How many people suffered, lost their fingers to make that pork? You know how many animals go in one fur? You ever wonder why furs are so expensive? Some animals are very hard to catch, very costly, scarce, very dangerous, like a bear, a leopard. But oftentimes to have a full, complete robe, clothes, whatever, it takes what? 3, 4, 5 animals just for one full coat. Especially if it's a what? A smaller animal, such as a rat or mink or a chinchilla. It's very, very, very costly. So the sign of the wealth is not only the nature of what he's wearing, but look how long it is. Man jarra thawbahu khuyala. He who drags his garment out of pride. That's a very long discussion. Then look at the sword. Look at the sword. It's encrusted with what? Gems, expensive, precious gems that poor people had to mine and die, suffocate, and then take toxic gas into their lungs to get gold and the gemstones, right? And all of this is given to me and mandated by God Almighty. You have no choice but to accept your lot in life, which is being a poor peasant farmer. Work like a slave, you pay taxes, you die, you go to heaven. Now, all right, khairan inshallah. That's serious, no doubt about that. That was what they did. Shoes, what is this symbol called? Anybody know? Mahad, you know what that's called? It's a famous, iconic symbol.
Clover.
Clover, good guess. What is that called?
Snake.
Get close to the saints, huh? What is it called? What country would this person be from? If you had to guess. France. Good guess. MashaAllah. What is that symbol called? I remember we all see the sword, huh? Those gems. This was the day there was no revolution. That was made by what? Craftsmen. Maybe 4 or 5 craftsmen putting that sword together. All right. Louis the what? What's the Roman numeral? 15th? 14th of, you guessed right, France. Okay. Mahada, are you ready to read? Bismillah. This article, as a disclaimer, is about the Western tradition, the Gharb. Western tradition for the Sino-Spirit tradition, meaning in the East, mandate of heaven, son of heaven, they would say. The gods themselves have made the emperor. You cannot rebel or revolt or remove him. It would anger those gods, which will bring misfortune and ruin upon. So we see these different religions and faiths, east to west, France to China, is that there's always been some type of what? Connection between Malik and Mulk, king, and deen, faith, aqidah. هذا المقصود. Who said anything changed? No one said anything changed. All right, Father. Mandate. So that's another article. For the divine right of kings.
Divine right of king, right, or God's mandation is a political and religious doctrine of
Political and
religious.
religious. Very dangerous mix. But nonetheless, it's a mix. Whether it's a good mix or a bad mix, right? But it's gotta be careful. Move forward.
Of legitimacy of a monarchy in Western Christianity up until the Enlightenment.
Age of enlightenment. The age in which people started thinking differently. Whether it was light or darkness, but people started breaking away from the mental chains. What has to be, what can and cannot be. And of course, most of the world followed him in that. And of course, after the age of enlightenment came the what? The age of? The Renaissance. After the Renaissance came what? The age of exploration. And after the age of exploration came the age of? Before that was the... Give me that. Colonizing. They started thinking differently. They started traveling, and then they did what? They conquered land like what? The white man, the poet said. The urban poet said this. Right,
It is also known as the divine right theory of kingship. Doctrine asserts that a monarch is not accountable to any
authority. إذا حد to an extent. First thing that's wrong with Islamic compatibility, the doctrine asserts that a king is not accountable to any earthly authority. I can do what I want to do because God made me the king. So that's the first left turn or right turn away from what can and cannot be Islamically acceptable. Right? All right, moving forward. Such as the parliament or the pope. Keep going.
The parliament or the pope, because their right to rule is derived from divine authority. Thus, the monarch is not subject to the will of the people, of the aristocracy.
The state of Israel has the right to exist at the cost and the expense of everyone else. What is the strongest point of legitimacy? I'm not sure. This is the land promised by God Almighty. End of discussion. Period. Modern politics, are people even practicing? Do we include faith into the UN? God. End of discussion. Done. Over. No accountability. Will we kill, slaughter, ambassador? It's not a genocide because if we wanted to commit a genocide, we could. The dumbest thing you ever heard in life. Are there Native Americans living in this country alive? Tribes? Yes or no? Did they kill all of them?
No.
Does anybody differ there was a genocide on them? Did they not have the power and the strength to destroy all of the Indian savages? How dumb is that? And then even dumber is someone who argues and fights with them that it is or isn't a genocide. It doesn't matter what you call it. Whatever you want to call it. The number of people, the nature of killing, the slaughter, the indiscriminate slaughter. I don't care if you call it a party, a parade. Is unacceptable. Period. And of course, before the ceasefire, if we even allow the ceasefire, we're going to go on an orgy of killing and slaughter like they do every single time. And the only thing we have to tell you, idiots and fools, the dumb American taxpayers, Hamas didn't want the peace. They asked for too many conditions. Right? And you'll just accept that. Keep paying taxes, and you'll live your happy life and you'll die. Maybe you'll put on a shirt or a flag, or you'll march or something like that. That's all you're going to do, though. Because the life that we provided you with is too comfortable to relinquish. Allahu musta'an. This is the reality. All right, move forward.
Or of any other estate. It follows that only divine authority can judge a monarch, and that any attempt to depose, dethrone, resist, or restrict their powers runs contrary to God's will and may constitute a sacrilegious act.
It's blasphemous for you to even question my authority over you. You'll go to hell for even asking a question. It's pretty heavy, huh? Further.
It does not that their power is absolute. in its full-fledged form, the divine right of kings associated with Henry VIII of England and the Acts of Supremacy, James VI and the First of Scotland and England, Louis XIV of France, and others. In contrast, the conception of human rights started to develop during the Middle Ages by scholars such as Saint Thomas Aquinas, see natural law, and were systematized by the thinkers of the Age of Enlightenment. John Locke, liberty, dignity, freedom, and equality are examples of important human rights. Divine rights are a key element of the self-legitimization of many absolute monarchies with their authority and right to rule, related but distinct notions.
Okay, long discussion. Religious traditions. Is it just Western Christianity? What do Hindus say about divine right of rule? Been heard by us that men in old days, in consequence of anarchy, met with destruction, devouring one another like stronger fishes, devouring the weaker ones in the water. It has been heard by us that a few amongst them, then together, made certain compacts, saying, he who becomes harsh in speech, violent in temper, he who seduces or abducts other people's wives, or robs wealth that belongs to others, should be cast off by us. For inspiring confidence among all classes of the people, they made such a compact and lived for some time. Assembling after some time, they proceeded to the grandsire, saying, without a king, O divine Lord, we are going to destruction. Appoint someone of us as our king, and all of us shall worship him, and he shall protect us. In Hinduism, Zoroastrianism. Is a Zoroastrian a monotheist? No, polytheist? What deities do they have? Fire? Sun? كان هل يجوز يعني للمجوس أن يقيموا في بلد الإسلام في دولة الإسلام الإسلامية؟ هل هم يأخذون حكم أهل الكتاب اليهود والنصارى؟ ولا يلحق بسائر الوثنيين؟
أعتقد أن المسلمين طبقوا ذلك في الهند. The right of
Sheikh is saying he's giving some history. Can Zoroastrians live Muslims, or are they like pagans? Can you marry a Zoroastrian woman? Right, Judaism. What do the Jews, what does the Bible say about kings? When you come to the land that the Lord is giving you, and you possess it and dwell in it, and then say, I will set a king over me, like all the nations that are around me. You may indeed set a king over you, whom the Lord your God will choose. What? The Lord what? Your God will choose this king. One from among your brothers you shall set as king over you. You may not put a foreigner over you, who is not your brother. Food for what? Food for thought. طيب, Zoroastrians, Iranian kings, Shah, huh? King of kings. When you win a chess game, what do you say?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Where does that come from? Sheikh Mat. Ahsant. Sheikh Mat. Very interesting. Aywa. Or others they say Shah Mat. The king has what? He's dead. Where does chess come from? It doesn't come from Europe. Chess came from Persia, which originally many say came from India. So they say it traveled from India to Persia, to Arabia, to Europe. There are many words that still remain. What does checkmate mean? Once again, paying attention to the words. You ever ask yourself the question, why do I say checkmate? And many, they say that it comes from Sheikh Mat. The Arabic version, the Sheikh of the Khalifa is what? Or Shah. The Shah has what? He's no longer. So obviously they have a very long history. Of course, the kings, King Cyrus. What's the famous city of Persia? What's the history of East versus West and the fighting and Western civilization versus Eastern savagery? It's based on what?
Persia versus Rome.
And Greece. That's the asl of the whole argument today. keeping back the barbaric hordes from the east invading the west. And our culture is superior. And you can go but deeper and deeper into the well of Zoroastrianism. All right, Christianity, the Christian notion, pre-modern history, what did they forget? Medieval, this, Allah Akbar. It can't get clearer than that. Abdul Wadud, look at that. Huh? The king is what? Anointed directly by Christ. Can't get God? Oh, like Jesus, I know doubt. Tell you, what's up with that? Allah knows best. Interesting. Oh, look at that. Wow. The kind of like, nah?
Wow.
All right. Look at that dagger and the sword. Allah Akbar. And the medallion, the gold medallion. Right? Where the gold medallion comes from. Jesus comes from where? That's their son, huh? Do they have ice today? Huh? Or was it just gold? When did this become popular? It's a historical discussion. Died forever. There wasn't back in the day. All the kings in the museums, they all had what? Diamonds. You never see diamonds except for one country. One country was known for wearing diamonds. The kings wore diamonds, which is what? India. India. It's historic. All right, tight. So what's missing from this article, Mahad? Islam. How did they fail to mention the Islamic position on kings and the divine right of kings? Do we believe that or not? All right, tight. Moving forward.
Maybe because it doesn't follow that.
It's a discussion. Is Islam compatible with monarchism? Our next reader, Fadl Harun. This question. See what we have. Fadl, this. I don't blow stuff up, Sheikh. I'm a Muslim. Fadl.
This question has been on my mind for quite some time now. The very first caliphate was not, but rather
had its own
unique government system, and only later on did Islamic countries start embracing monarchism as a part of their society. But is Islam and Sharia law really compatible with government system of monarchy?
Just the question itself has to scratch your brain if you're reading the Quran. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي. Allah says what? وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء. So if you're reading the Quran, it has to at least what? The question has to come to your head at least once. Now, these different people here, we're here to read this, but you see what people think and what people say online. All right, moving forward. Alhamdulillah, this is another website here. Let's see what these people have to say. السلطان ذي الله في الأرض حديث حسن. أصل حديث أبي هريرة وهو السلطان ظل الله في الأرض ورد مرفوعا عن عدة من الصحابة رضي الله عنهم من عدة طرق جمعها كل من الحافظين السخاوي والسيوطي في مؤلفين، وقد لخص العلامة الزرقاني في مختصر المقاصد الحسنة كلام الحافظ السخاوي عليه بأوجز عبارة وأدلها على المقصود، كما هو منهجه في هذا المختصر المفيد حيث قال حسن لغيره. أما الزيادات على هذا اللفظ ففيها الصحيح كحديث أبي بكر عند الترمذي وأحمد والطبراني، وفيها الحسن، وفيها الضعيف المنجبر بما حديث أبي هريرة الذي أخرجه ابن النجار، وليس فيها ما هو مذكور في أحد كتب الموضوعات، ولذلك كان الحكم أبداه من اعترض على حديث أبي هريرة عند النجار بالوضع غريبا جدا، ويدل على تسرع وعدم تثبت بل على قصور في البحث، ويتضح ذلك مما يلي. أولا بالنسبة إلى أصل الحديث قال الحافظ السخاوي في المقاصد الحسنة حديث إنما السلطان ظل وروحه في الأرض أبو الشيخ والبيهقي والديلمي وعباد الترفقي وآخرون عن أنس مرفوعا إذا مررت ببلدة ليس فيها سلطان فلا تدخلها إنما السلطان إلى آخر الحديث وذكر. واللفظ الآخرين وفي لفظ للديلمي وابن نعيم منهما من جهة قتادة عن أنس مرفوعا السلطان ظل الله ورمحه في الأرض فمن نصعه ودعا له اهتدى ومن دعا عليه ولم ينصحه ضل وهما ضعيفان لكن في الباب عن أبي بكر وعمر وابن عمر وأبي بكر وأبي هريرة وغيرهم كما بينتها واضحة في جزء رفع الشكوك في مفاخر الملوك وبعض الطرق التي أشار إليه السخاوي ذكرها للجنود في كشف الخفاء إلى آخره يعني للراغبين والباحثين. نعم هذه الفوائد يعني لكم لمن يرغب في الازدياد يعني في المزيد. Okay, there's a hadith that says that if you pass by a land or country has no leader, no sultan, then enter not that land. Don't enter that town, don't enter that country. Because the ruler, Dhillullahi fil ard, is Allah's shadow on earth, is God's shadow on earth, wa rumhuhu, and the spear of God. Man nasahahu wa da'alahu tada, whoever is sincere and honest with this ruler, dua for him will be guided. And whoever is dishonest, doesn't have transparency with the ruler, and makes dua against him, will go astray. Is it sound? Is it correct? What's important is that there's a hadith that the sultan is what? Has a connection to
God.
And that he's placed and empowered by
God.
whoever obeys, follows, shows respect will be guided, and whoever says no, you have no right, he will be.
On straight.
That's the moral of this. Everybody can listen now. Hadith sound or not, further discussion. But there's some also to this in Islam with regards to monarchism. With regards to what? Monarchism. All right, let's move forward, inshallah. Now, many people today, they talk about Khilafah. He's a caliph. Khilafah, Khalifa, Caliphite. How does a caliph become a caliph? You ever ask yourself that question? Our Shaykh mentioned about India, the Muslims in India, the Delhi Sultanate. As the Muslims had a sultanate or sultanates in India, there were also what? Another time in the Islamic history in which there was only one major central body of government. Then after that, when? Such as what? Name some parallel kingdoms or caliphates, if you wish to call them, or sultanates, beyliks. Umayyun. They were parallel?
No, they came out.
Nah, it's not the question. The same time is the question.
Oh,
Ottomans, Mamluks, perfect. What else? Fatimiyya, Tayyib, Abbas, what else? Right, in which there are 3, 4. North Africa, Muwahhidun, Marun, Al-Adalisa, all same time or similar what? Time. The West African dynasties. Let's not forget that.
No.
Ali. Nam. Wolof Empire. What else? There are many. How can that? And many of them were what? And they fought. There were rivalries. Now, tell you. So, what makes the Ottomans a caliphate and not the Mamluks? And when did the caliphate go from the Mamluks to the Ottomans? What made the Muslims the caliph or the sultan in India and not in Africa? Why did the Arab Muslims from Morocco invade the West African countries and align with the Kuffar to fight the Muslims? That's a long story in itself. I don't know him. They were on the battlefield and said, "You killed us." We say, "La ilaha illallah." They say, "Shut up. You're a black slave. We can kill you with the weapons of the Kuffar." Allah musta'an. I don't know him. What's important is Yemen. How many empires there? How many sultans there? What makes an Islamic empire an actual caliphate, which is Shari? When is it a monarchy versus when is it a caliphate? And what makes one person the top Muslim imam? Many people, they talk about imamship, they talk about caliphs, we need a caliph, but do they know the basics of a caliph? So this is one source here. Sheikh Muhammad bin Shinqiti, he says, طيب فإذا حقق وجوب نصب الإمام الأعظم على المسلمين فاعلم أن الإمام قد يعقد له بأحد أمور. I was asked, ما قولك في وجوب نصب الخلافة؟ هل يجب؟ هل هو بدعة؟ هل هو محدث؟ هل هو كالخوارج؟ Right? That's not behind the ask this. Do the Muslims have to make a caliph or not? Sheikh Muhammad bin Shinqiti rahimahullah says, فَإِذَا حَقَّقْتَ, we've explained and proven that having a greatest imam is what? Wajib, fard. It's a must. How does one become the greatest imam? How? We're not going to read all this, we don't have a lot of time. الأول ما لو نص صلى الله عليه وسلم على أن فلانا هو الإمام فإنها تنعقد له بذلك. الطريقة الثانية هو اتفاق أهل الحل والعقد على بيعته. الثالث أن يعهد إليه الخليفة الذي قبله, يعني يستخلف. And this in itself, in reality, is what? One can say this is what? Monarchy. I'm the king, some will automatically be the king. But somewhat for the differences. And that is, the imam makes this person a successor, not just because of his bloodline. You're my successor, but we're not related. You're my brother from another mother. We don't share blood, but I want you to be the successor. And the monarchy is what? Automatically. Qualified or not? Long discussion. الرابع أن يغلب أو أن يتغلب على الناس بسيفه. It's pure violence. I'm the strongest, the last one said, hence I am
The best. The king.
I'm the ruler. I'll beat you all. Right? I'm the strongest one out here. I've trashed all of y'all. So to make peace, you should do what now?
Kiss the ring.
Simple. تغلب. I won. I killed Muslims. No one can beat me. I am the ruler. وينزع الخلافة بالقوة حتى يستتب له الأمر وتدين له الناس لما في الخروج عليه حينئذ من شق عصا المسلمين. ومن العلماء من يقول إلى آخره. هذا ملخص كلام العلماء في تنعقد به الإمامة الكبرى. ومقتضى كلام الشيخ تقي الدين أبو العباس بن تيمية رحمه الله في المنهاج أنها إنما تنعقد بمبايعة إلى آخره. واعلم أن الإمام الأعظم تشترط فيه شروط. What are the conditions of the caliph? What are the conditions of a monarch? What makes a person a king versus an Islamic successor, a caliph? Moving forward, we got here. Before we stop, Ibn Kathir رحمه الله تعالى وقد استدل القرطبي والإمامة تنال بالنص. How does it become the imam? And what are the Islamic words and terms? Does the Islamic leader have to be called caliph? Or can he be called malik? Can he be called amir? Can he be called sultan? And is there any cultural reference in how they address the greatest leader? These people here chose the word amir, and these people, they chose the word sultan. Or is it a Quranic command for the leader to have a specific title? Many people, they do what? They get things confused concerning these matters, which aren't so simple and easy. All right, I tell you, last but not least, Allah, that's for further reflection. Let's see. See what we get. People, regalia, and insignia. Oh man, this is too much. We want to end the class with this. Anybody have a tafsir on this?
3 crosses.
All right, so before we stop, what do we have? Mada and the nation. في السورة.
3. Got 3 crowns.
كم تاج فيه؟ ولا تاج واحد في 3 أطباق. ولا 3 يعني تاجات. ايش؟ عين. how many crowns? Do we have 3 crowns, or is it 1 crown with three tiers?
Three. One crown, 3 there.
Finish it.
That look like 3 crowns.
أطباق طبقات ولا كل تاج مركب فوق الآخر.
3 1. 1 and 3. The Trinity.
Trinity. All right, I know him. 3 crowns or 1 crown with 3 tiers. For sure, we have what?
Cross 3.
3. We agree on that. It is what? 3. On top of the 3 for sure is the cross. That's it. What else do we have?
2 keys. Got a silver key.
What main things do we see in the insignia or the regalia? What do we see?
Cross. 3 crosses.
We see the crosses, crucifixes. Many.
Yeah.
How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh.
By accident, maybe, Allah Alam. What else do we see in the image?
Rope.
We see rope. We see this royal type of. That's a better word than rope.
Tassel.
Tassel is another word. All right, and of course we can't miss the what?
2 keys.
The keys. All right, what's the tafsir of this? Let's see what they say. The cross keys symbolize the keys of Simon Peter. That's what they want you to think. But it's not so simple. Trust me. It's not so simple. The keys are gold and silver to represent the power of loosing and binding. The triple crown, the tiara, symbolizes the triple power of the Pope as Father of Kings, Governor of the world, and Viceroy of Christ. The gold cross on a Monday globe surmounting the tiara symbolizes the sovereignty. So that's one tafsir, but we both know that's not the real tafsir. Any guesses? I finish it if you don't know. No one hit him. Anybody want to give it a guess? I guess. Abu Hamid, what you got? What do you think these 3 crowns and 2 keys symbolize? Let's not focus on the rope or the tassel or the embroidery. Let's just focus on the crowns and the keys. What do you think they symbolize?
3 crowns are the Trinity.
Trinity, all right. What else?
The keys are the divine right them.
Meaning spiritual or worldly?
Spiritual.
And what else? The 2 keys.
Oh, so what is the dunya and what is the
I'm the king of the entire world.
Yeah.
All races, all religions. They can keep their religion. I'm in charge. And I also have the ultimate authority when it comes to the matters of faith. The ultimate authority of God is the Pope. The ultimate sultan, according to them, is the Pope. I have the keys to the deen and the dunya. And the 3 crosses, 3 crowns representing the Trinity. Anybody else? There's more. Keys to the unseen. Allah. He knows what's in your heart. Like the Odiad do. In Islam. Wali in the grave, he knows what? What's in your heart. That's why you ask him to help you out. And that's not shirk. That's the Wahhabism. It's not shirk to believe that. No? Muhammad Abdullah, he made that. You can't call upon the people in the graves. They're walis. They have power. Anybody else? All right, what do you got? Google search. Going once, going twice. See what we have. What does the pool, regalia, symbolize? Or insignia mean? Right? See here. It's still on the surface. Coat of arms. Symbol of papal power. Many don't know what it means. Alright. That's also going to be our home assignment. Lesson is, what is the smallest country on earth?
Vatican.
Vatican City. It's actually a what?
Country?
A country. No.
Site, yeah.
Not a city, but it's actually a sovereign what? Okay. What's special about the Vatican? It's still the capital of the Pope. What does the word Vatican mean? Let's see what we get. It's just Google search. It's not no, in the basement type of stuff. All right. The word Vatican comes from
Praise.
Vaticanus, which means Vatican. All right. Okay. All right. It is divining serpent. The word Vatican literally means divining serpent. And it is derived from vatis, diviner, and can, serpent. Vatican City and St. Peter's Basilica. So we'll ask the question, why would they choose the capital of their pope and their religion to mean the worship of a snake? طيب we'll stop tonight. جزاكم الله خيرا. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد. Any questions? We'll take them down, and if not, بارك الله فيكم. معلش يا شيخ أطولنا. Yeah, you cut them, inshallah. Sorry if the class was a little long. Any questions, guys? Make sure you have your snake worship on tonight, inshallah.
Question, that's why they have this on the side of the ambulance? Question.
I've said enough tonight.
Seconds, right?
Indeed.
They have the
Well, snakes, eels, what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that people use. What's it called? Back in the day, they would bite you and take your blood out, the bad blood out. Leech. There's a lot of symbolism with the barbershop, with regards to medicine, with regards to antidotes that are taking snakes and serums, so on and so forth. There's a long history behind that. But the city of the divine snake. Allahu Akbar. There need no more tafsir to that, huh? And everybody sitting in this room, whether you realize it or not, your life, the life of your family, your ancestors, your forebears, has been touched directly or indirectly by that divine snake. If you come from West Africa, for sure. If you're an indigenous Black American, for sure. If you come from North Africa, if you come from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, Yemen, no doubt about that. Inshallah, you do your research, huh? Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.